Let's now shift focus to some post-market earnings. IT major Infosys reported a weak set of fourth-quarter earnings with revenue and margins both missing street estimates. Reema Tendulkar is joining us now to get us up to speed with the earnings fine print and the guidance as well. Reema.
Thanks so much for that. So let me first start with the stock movement. Infosys ADR was down 4.5% yesterday. And in our own markets this week, Infy has lost 4.5%. And since Accenture came out with the numbers, the stock is corrected close to about 15%. Now on to Q4 numbers. It's a miss. It's an all-round miss and a big miss, both on revenues and on margins. The company has reported a revenue decline of 2.2% versus consensus expectations of 0.5%. Margins too, versus expectation of a margin expansion of 20 basis points, margins have contracted by 40 basis points. The reason for the miss in Q4, one, discretionary slowdown continues to remain the key point, and two, there was a one-time restructuring of a BFSI client which impacted the revenue and margins negatively by 100 basis points. But you know, Q4 is done. The problem is the FY25 outlook is also not baking in any kind of improvement. The company is guiding for a 1 to 3% revenue growth in FY25, much lower than consensus expectations of 3 to 5%. On margins, they're staying the course, maintaining it at 20 to 22%. And just to put Infy's growth numbers in context, they're talking about a 1 to 3% revenue growth. What did TCS tell us? TCS said that FY25 will be better than FY24, which is 3.4%. So there is going to be, so probably TCS for the second year in a row will perform better than Infosys. There's also another question that analysts are asking now. Is the Infy guidance being a bit conservative now? Because deal wins in FY24 were very strong, 80% jump in their deal wins. They will start ramping up and contributing to growth. And if discretionary spends come back, there is a possibility of a positive surprise. Also, in the medium term, while the company for FY24-5 has maintained the margin guidance, they are talking about margin expansion over the medium term. Back to you.
Okay, all right. So that's about Infosys. In fact, let's stay with those numbers. The CEO, Salil Parekh, while addressing a press conference, spoke about the company's outlook for FY25. Take a listen.
The environment in terms of discretionary and digital work is similar to what we've ended in this year. We also had good traction in large deals, some of which will flow through in the next year, given the duration of those deals. Keeping that in mind, our growth guidance for next year is as a band higher than where we finished for this year. We see, for example, financial services to see a better outlook in the next year compared to the past year. We see, for example, manufacturing, which will have, while it'll still grow next year, will have a slightly slower growth than this year.
Okay, that's about Infosys. Let's talk about the first set of